Hello and welcome back to another video, and in this one I'll be looking to restore this Herbert Terry Anglepoise lamp. For those who aren't aware, the iconic Anglepoise that you know today basically originated from Herbert Terry and Sons. Their very first one was released in 1934 and it had 4 springs in the design, which then followed up in 1935 by the 3-spring design that you see here, with either a 2 or a 3-stepped base in an Art Deco style. So yeah, a really nice one, and you'll know if it's a Herbert and Terry or not when you look at the base. So if you look down just inside there, you can see made by Herbert Terry and Sons, Redditch, England, and I think we have something on the back as well. Yeah, so it says the Anglepoise. It has the patent number on the back. It just says patent in the UK and abroad. And if it didn't say, this model is the 1227. Really nice, iconic piece, much sought after by lots of people. You can imagine graphic designers, people who like industrial look, all that kind of stuff. So this one I managed to find out in the wild, and as you can see, it had this bayonet fit inside here, which doesn't have an on-off switch. It then has this horrible white flex that runs all the way down here to this taped up joint, which is obviously not what you want. Loads more of this white cabling down to this really ugly Bakelite on-off switch all the way down to the plug. Other things I noticed as well was the screw that tightens up here and essentially is designed through friction to hold this in place. Doesn't really hold the arm, it kind of opens up. I also noticed that one of the spacers which sits here in these 2 gaps was missing. And so what I'm going to be doing is stripping the whole lamp apart, cleaning it all up, cleaning the springs, etc. I'm going to be doing something that makes this a little bit better, be it either using spacers or something inside there. I've sourced one of these. It's an original acrylic one rather than a metal one, and I'm going to paint it black to match and install into there. It's also missing its washers, which should go in here and out of here, so I'm going to put the plastic grommets back in. I've bought a bayonet fit to go in here, which has an on and off clicker here, so you won't have one down there. You can just do it with the light. And then I've got some more appropriate flex to fit in, and as we'll see, unfortunately the original ones had this really thin flex that allowed you to take an earth wire all the way up to the top, but because things are double insulated these days, the wire is a little thicker. So what I'm going to probably end up doing is taking the live and the neutral all the way up to the new bayonet fit, and then we'll earth it to somewhere down here or onto one of these, so that it is still earth, because you've got a lot of metal in here. So what I'm going to do now is slowly strip the lamp apart, clean it and rebuild it. I'll be fast forwarding in sections because I'm sure you don't want to sit there and watch me undo everything, and I hope you enjoy the video. That bend doesn't seem particularly right to me, so I'll just see if I can straighten that out a little bit. So what I've done, just ever so gently with this one, using a rubber hammer, is because it was laterally slightly bent, so I've just brought that in, and I've just ever so slightly, well, a little bit more than slightly, I've just brought that curve just back in. So now that's all apart, really the next thing I want to do is just clean everything up. So I'm going to go through, get some oil and like a bristle brush and stuff to get some of this out the springs. So basically clean everything up, oil everything up, keep them all in the same places, clean the arms up and everything like that. Then I'll start, at the minute I'm not sure whether I want to rebuild it and then put the wire through, or rewire it when it's like this, because it might be a little bit easier to work with when I'm trying to get the flex through when it's like this. Some of the metals are cleaning up really nicely. You can see this is all, it's not actually brass, it's just muck, and then just cleaning it off, bringing that lovely shine back. You can actually see there's an original earth washer, says earth on it, so I'll be using that. That's a nice touch to have that when I rewire everything. Just another good opportunity to show a side by side, getting rid of some of that surface rust that you can see there, and just, it's nothing crazy, it's just putting it back to its original. We're not removing any history or anything, we're just giving it a clean up and just making it look the best it can be. So that's now everything completely cleaned up, from the base, the cover for the base, all the arms, all the springs, all the parts, all individually cleaned up. And then as I then put them together, I'll then just give them a little bit of oil wherever there's a moving part, and just putting things together however they want to sit, or however it best like feels right. So hopefully when it's all done, it will kind of just lift the whole thing together. So I think what I'm going to do at this point is install the flex and the washers, and then carry on building. So my parts are these grommets here, which will go one there and one there. I've also got one of these for later up at the top. The original acrylic version spacer, some flex like this. I think this was 3 meters, and what I might have to do is unwind the earth and just feed 2 through, because I don't think there's enough room in these holes to get all 3 through. If I can get 3 through, it'll be awesome, but that's what I'm going to try and attempt to. So I'm going to try and give this a go, because there's already some flex in there. I've cut this back and I've soldered the neutral and the live on, with the earth just kind of taped into the middle, and I'm hoping that will now hold together enough that I can pull it through. So pull this one through and hopefully maybe get all 3 wires through, which saves me doing that extra earth down at the base. It'd just be a little bit cleaner. I'm just gonna have to take it really carefully. It's a bit annoying having to do that again because it was going so well, but it's the only way I'm going to get these grommets on. So I'm going to put this one on now and kind of slide it down, and then I'm going to put the other one on and then move that onto there, and then this one at the other end I can just slide up from the bottom. Now carry on rebuilding everything from the bottom up. Right, welcome back. So I've just been spending a little bit of time having a look at the tensioning bar. I already knew something was off because of this piece in here, and what I've also discovered is this end bit isn't right either. So the main issue is this this tightening nut isn't tight enough on the thread, and so when you go to tighten it up, all it does is pop off again, and I need to get tension applied onto there. So the solution is going to be to either get a new bar or a new nut or both, and the spacer and parts aren't cheap. So I think the first thing I'll probably try is the correct nut. If it works, great. If it doesn't, I'll have to get a bar as well, and then I'll potentially get a spacer as well. So what I'm going to do now is reaffix the top part and just carry on with the wiring and the other bits and bobs. Okay, so that's the lamp put back together again. Like I said, I still need to change this nut here, potentially the bar, just to make sure that tensioning mechanism works really nicely. As it is with its weight, it's sat reasonably well at the minute, so it's bobbing down, it's holding up there. So it's not too bad, it's just a little buoyant, but it looks absolutely fantastic. I'll tell you what, when I take it off the stand. Hello, welcome back to the finished product. It's been a few days because I had to wait on some parts and some of the bits and bobs, but here it is, and I think it looks spectacular. I had to move it up here because my desk isn't big enough to zoom out, but I think the staging also works fine here. As a recap about what I did, I got this lamp and I stripped it down in its entirety. Absolutely everything was taken apart, and then every single piece cleaned by hand. We're talking nuts, washers, springs, absolutely everything I cleaned, just to get rid of all that surface dust and bring it all back to life. Following that, I removed that horrible bayonet fit that didn't have an on-off switch. I removed all that horrible white cabling with that big chunky kind of Bakelite on-off switch and that weird connection that was all taped up. That's all gone. This nice new well, appropriate flex has been put in, a nice long cord, and with that you've got the live, neutral and earth running all the way up, so you haven't got any of those concerns with live metal at all. In addition, I also put in an acrylic spacer. So this model comes with either metal or acrylic. Couldn't get a metal one, but I don't think the acrylic version detracts from it at all, and it just sits up there at the top. Following that, I've also put in the correct proper original spacer there rather than the homemade one that had been put in, and I've got a modern like for the end nut. The reason I went for that was because I wanted to make sure it tightened up nicely, and an older one might not have, and that's really important for how it all stands. Further to that, when I was putting the wiring in, I also put in the missing grommets there and there, all three of those. So you now have a really nice clean lamp, lovely looking, with little details such as the original earth spacer I've left on here, that earth washer. They sell for around 10 to 12 pounds just for that washer, for those people wanting originality of the lamp. Oh yeah, and then what I finally did after I rebuilt it all, so it looks like this, is I finished it off by hand polishing with some Renaissance wax polish. This is used by the British Museum for a number of different reasons and for different effects, and I've done it just to give it that very light shine, because I was never going to paint this, it would ruin it, but to just give it a little bit of shine back to the lamp, and also it prevents them being a bit of a fingerprint magnet. So yeah, just quickly show you around whilst it's off. You can see that lovely finish, those lovely proportions and shape all around there. And then the way in which the mechanism works is it's just got this single versus two opposing springs which adjusts how it sits. So when you loosen off this nut, it's essentially allowing that spring to move more freely. So you'll position it, for instance, like so, tighten up the nut, and that's then holding the friction against the spring, so it'll hold, and you can see it'll really hold nice in that position. You can kind of move them, just loosen up a little bit. You can maybe move it over here, again tighten it up like so, but it's designed to kind of sit in anywhere around this sort of position. They're not designed to go like that because of the spring positioning, but you could maybe have it up here if you wanted. And so you can see it all working really nicely now. I'll bring it down and just pop the light on. So as a reminder, it was a safety bayonet, which means it has to have a bulb in for you to select between the on and the off. And then if you just give it a little, if you push too far, it'll go to the safety mode. So when you go on and off, you're just going to go to the first stopper, and there you can see it all lighting up inside that nice housing, kind of a silver reflective finish inside there. Again, I could just something like that. And so that's the end. That was our Herbert Terry full restoration. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please like, share, comment, subscribe. It really helps me grow the channel. And until the next one, all the best, take care, and see you.